There are stories that ignite minds. And then there are lives that become stories. Stories that light up entire generations. Today I want to take you on such a journey. A journey of a boy who once sold newspapers to support his family and later became the President of India. A man who walked barefoot on the sands of Rameswaram, but whose dreams touched the stars above the sky. This is the story of Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, a name that does not just belong to history books, but to every dreamer who ever dared to rise beyond limits. He was born in the small town of Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu in 1931. His father, Zainul Abdin, was a simple boat owner and imam of a local mosque. They were poor, but their home was rich with values, honesty, discipline, and faith. Kalam was the youngest of 5 siblings. As a child, he was quiet, curious, and deeply spiritual. He loved the sea breeze, the morning prayers, and the smell of freshly cooked food that his mother prepared with love. But poverty had its way of testing them. When others were buying sweets, young Kalam sold newspapers to earn a few coins. He would wake up before sunrise, help his father, go to school, and deliver papers on the way. He once said, "My childhood may not have had luxuries, but it was full of love, dreams, and hope." That hope, that fire inside him, became his wings.
As a student, Kalam wasn't the brightest at first. He failed many times, but he never stopped learning. He was fascinated by flight, by birds, by aeroplanes, by the idea of touching the sky. He would sit for hours, sketching planes in his notebook, wondering, can a boy from Rameswaram ever touch the stars? His teachers saw that spark. One of them, Shri Ayyadullah Solomon, told him, "To succeed in life and achieve results, you must understand and master 3 mighty forces: desire, belief, and expectation." That sentence stayed with Kalam for life. It became his first lesson in dreams. Years later, when he completed his school, he went to St. Joseph's College to study physics. Then, with pure determination, he joined the Madras Institute of Technology, where his journey toward becoming a scientist truly began. He was not born rich. He was not born into privilege, but he was born with something even more powerful: a relentless belief in hard work. At MIT, Kalam once faced a serious challenge. He had to design a mini aircraft model as part of his final project. When his professor said, "You have only 3 days to finish this," Kalam didn't sleep for 3 nights. He worked day and night, sketching, wiring, building. When he finally presented it, the professor's eyes filled with pride. That was the day when a dream took flight. The dream of becoming a scientist, of building something that could fly.
After graduation, Kalam joined the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO. There, he started working on small projects, but his true journey began when he joined ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. At ISRO, he faced challenges bigger than himself. They had limited resources, no advanced technology, and many failures. But they had something the world underestimated: faith, teamwork, and vision. Kalam often said to his team, "Don't look at failures as the end. Look at them as beginnings of learning." And indeed, when India's first satellite launch vehicle, SLV-3, failed, Kalam didn't give up. He gathered his team and said, "This is not failure. This is deferred success." The world mocked them, but a year later, the same team, led by Kalam, successfully launched Rohini satellite into space. India had entered the space age, not because of money or power, but because of courage and determination. Do you know what true leadership looks like?
When the mission failed, Kalam took the blame. When the mission succeeded, he gave the credit to his team. That's leadership. That's humility. He never cared for fame. He cared for people, for their growth, for their dreams. He once said, "If you want to shine like the sun, first burn like the sun." And he lived that philosophy every single day.
Years later, Kalam became the chief architect of India's missile program. He was called the Missile Man of India. He led projects like Agni and Prithvi, and his vision made India self-reliant in defense technology. But beyond science, Kalam had another dream, a dream of igniting young minds. He would travel to schools, colleges, and villages, speaking to students with unmatched passion. He believed that every child had the power to change the world. He would often ask, "My young friends, what will you be remembered for?" He didn't just build missiles, he built minds. Then came 2002. Dr. Kalam was elected the 11th President of India. But even in Rashtrapati Bhavan, he remained the same simple man. No luxury, no pride, no ego. He would often walk around the gardens, talk to children, and reply personally to letters from students. When asked how it felt to be president, he said with a smile, "I am still a teacher, only my classroom has become a little bigger." He gave India more than just technology. He gave it hope, faith, and a vision for 2020. But what makes his story truly timeless is not how high he rose, it's how grounded he remained. He lived in a small room, slept on a thin mattress, and donated most of his salary to charity. He once said, "We must dream, but dreams are not what you see when you sleep. Dreams are those that do not let you sleep." And those dreams became India's heartbeat. He wanted every Indian child to say with pride, "I can." He believed that greatness comes not from position, but from purpose.
In 2015, Dr. Kalam was invited to give a lecture at IIM Shillong. He walked into the auditorium with his usual warmth. He began speaking to students about creating a livable planet Earth. And suddenly, in the middle of his words, he paused, collapsed, and fell silent forever. He left this world the way he lived, teaching, inspiring, serving. Even in death, he gave a message: die while doing what you love. India mourned that day, but millions of hearts across the world also lit up, because they knew legends never die. Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam still lives in the classrooms of small villages, in the eyes of every dreamer, in the spirit of every teacher who believes in their student, and in every ordinary person who dares to do something extraordinary. His story is not just about rockets and science. It's about humanity. It's about humility. It's about dreaming with open eyes and working with open hearts. He once said, "Man needs difficulties because they are necessary to enjoy success." Yes, failures are not punishments. They are training grounds for greatness. He turned failures into lessons, insults into motivation, and loneliness into creativity. He believed that every obstacle was an opportunity to evolve. So, my friends, the next time you feel that your dream is too big, remember the boy from Rameswaram, the boy who sold newspapers but read them with purpose, the boy who looked at the sky and said, "One day I will touch it." You too have that fire within you. You too can rise above your limits. You don't need to be born rich. You just need to be born hungry to learn. You don't need a perfect background. You just need a pure intention. And if you ever doubt yourself, remember what Dr. Kalam said. All of us do not have equal talent, but all of us have an equal opportunity to develop our talents. My dear friends, the story of Dr. Kalam is not just his story, it's a mirror for all of us. A mirror that asks, what are you doing with your wings of fire? Because every one of us has wings. They are just waiting for courage to open them. Dream big, work hard, stay humble. And someday, when people speak your name, may they say, he too had fire in his heart. Just like Dr. Kalam.